What's up, guys? It's Adam from 1010 Talk, and I'm gonna say it right off the bat. Seiko collectors and fanatics, I'm a little disappointed in you. And the reason I'm a little disappointed in you is I have a watch here that completely went under the radar. I got this a few months ago, and as of today, I think there are still a few on eBay sitting for like $280 or something like that. And this is the thing, guys. When I find out about new Seikos that are coming out, the Seiko community is so ridiculous that I'll know about a Seiko watch 3 months before it even comes out. Between like the various forums and the Facebook groups, the things that you guys do, the brochure, the screenshots that I see of brochures, I don't even know like where you guys find these pictures. I found out about the Hulk Marine Master in like January, and it was just released in Basel this year. But I hadn't seen anything when I actually purchased this thing. I hadn't seen a single peep about the SCVE045, which is Patek, or I call it a Patek because it looks like Patek's pilot watch, the Seiko pilot watch. And it's kind of crazy. I'm just going to preface this whole review with this little quick story. I was really into the Patek New York limited edition pilot watch that came out in 2017. And I was also looking, I'll post a picture of that for you guys. And I was also looking at the Zenith Pilot Type 20, particularly in the bronze. And then a few days later, after obsessing over those two watches, I came across this thing on a site, and I was like, what the hell is that? I've never seen this thing. And it was limited to 300 pieces. And this particular version in steel right here is a collaboration with Nano Universe. And it's only limited to 300. So that's why I'm a little disappointed with you Seiko people, because usually if there's a watch limited to 300, everyone talks about it, everyone posts pictures about it, and in about 6 months after it's released, it's completely sold out and selling for about double on eBay. So with all that said, let's go ahead and take a closer look at this Seiko Pilot limited edition. All right, guys, so here it is. This is the Seiko Spirit Smart Nano Universe SCVE045, or as I like to call it, the Seiko Pilot Nano Universe. So right off the bat, let's just address this Nano Universe thing. There are a couple Nano Universe Seikos floating around, and Nano Universe is actually a Japanese clothing brand, and they did a collaboration with Seiko. Sort of like, I guess you could say it's similar to Todd Snyder doing a collab with Timex, for example. And what's really cool is you can see the Nano Universe logo here on the back. Now this isn't just a black plated case back. It's actually crystal, so you can, I don't even think this camera will be able to pick it up, but it's tinted glass, and you can still see the rotor of the automatic movement there on the back. But I don't think the camera's able to pick it up here. But anyway, so pretty cool. They have the Nano Universe logo, just as Todd Snyder would do something with Timex, just like that. So I'm going to get into some really quick specs on this thing. As you can see, the actual finishing on this, the pictures online do not do it justice, as with most Seiko watches. It's beautifully finished. I would say you can see the polished and brushed or satin edges here remind me a lot of sort of Alpinist case quality. And you guys know the Alpinist, the SARB 017 is definitely a cult classic. So anyway, let's get to some specs. This particular steel version, which I think is probably going to be the most sought after in the future, is limited to 300 pieces. It has the 4R35 movement in the back. Stainless steel case, as I mentioned. There's a calf leather band that's sort of this Flieger style band. It doesn't taper at all. It's just a nice fat 20 millimeters all the way throughout with a squared off edge there. And it definitely is a better quality strap than, say, what the Alpinist comes on. But it is really fun to play strap games with this thing. So, and I'm going to also include in a little bit later on in the video some strap looks for you. So, it is Lumabrite Loom, which is absolutely incredible, actually. And it's really cool to see Seiko Loom on something other than just a maxi plot style dive watch. You can actually see the numerals illuminated really well. Waterproof to 10 bar, anti-magnetic. Has the case back with the serial number. As I mentioned, out of 300, this one's number 171 out of 300 with that tinted see-through back. 23 jewels. It's 42 millimeters and 11.6 millimeters thick, so it actually wears really well. And it's 49.4 millimeters, so 49 millimeters lug to lug. So anything under 50, I think, is pretty good for most people. I really do like how they paired up the 20 millimeter lugs with the 42 millimeter case. I think 22 millimeters might have been a little bit too thick or too wide. And I think the 20 millimeter lugs give it a little bit of a smaller presence as well, which I really do love. I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick wrist shot for you guys. So here is the watch on my 7¼ inch wrist. As you can see, it actually does have a pretty solid presence to it. There's not much of a bezel, so the 42 millimeter size actually wears a little bit larger than a traditional 42 millimeter dive watch would, just because the dial is so large. And I'm going to include a couple different shots for you guys now of this thing to show how versatile the watch actually is. On a NATO strap or a Perlon strap. Of course, it definitely looks great on sort of a tan or a camel light brown style strap. This thing really is a strap monster. It can go with anything. It can definitely be a daily driver if you want this to be sort of your everyday kind of watch. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, it's pretty surprising that this thing has gone so far under the radar. The dive watches from Seiko clearly overshadow anything else that Seiko does. But that's not entirely true, because all the dress watches they make, like the different Presage models and the Sarbs, always are super popular. So I don't really understand why this thing hasn't really blown up, especially since it's so limited. They have them in a couple different colors. They have a gold tone case. They have like a blacked out black ion case as well. And those are all limited to different editions, but I think all of them are under 500 pieces at maximum. And like I said, this steel model is the one that I think is going to be the home run. Just because anything in steel is always a little bit more popular. I really do love, you can see, it's a black dial, but it almost looks like it picks up as a grayish, almost anthracite style dial in some lights here. I love the applied markers on there with the probably steel lining on the outside of the Lumibrite. You'll see the nice little red pip right at 12, right above the numeral. I do really enjoy the handset that they decided to put on this thing. Very reminiscent of a lot of different kind of Flieger watches. A lot of them would have these sort of thick sword type hands, which are very legible as well. You can see automatic 23 jewels on there as well. And at the bottom, made in Japan. So the actual finishing on this thing, as I mentioned earlier, has a really nice contrast on the lugs and the case body and the beveling, or sorry, the stainless steel bezel. The polished and the brushed edges really catch the light nicely. And in the daytime, hopefully you guys could have seen it from my other shots. It really provides for a nice contrast and sort of makes the watch feel a little bit more expensive than it actually is. And I've always applauded Seiko for being able to incorporate a lot of different finishings on even their lower price point watches. So I'm going to go ahead and do a really quick loom shot for you guys so you can see how powerful the loom actually is. So I'm actually not even going to move. I'm just going to put this watch up into the light really quickly. Alright guys, so here you can see a loom shot. How does that look? Absolutely beautiful. It's not even completely dark in here. There's still some low light natural sunlight coming in, but you can see how legible that dial is. Honestly, probably one of the most legible dials that I've ever seen in my entire life. Probably due to the super thick numerals, as opposed to something like a Flieger from like Stowa or IWC or something like that. Pairing Seiko's dive loom with a pilot watch like this, I could stare at this all day, and I'm sure you guys are really enjoying this shot right here. All right, so let's get the lights back on and wrap up this video. All right, guys, so let me know what you think about this Seiko Pilot Nano Universe in the comments. I'm gonna leave you guys with a body shot really quickly so you can see perspective-wise how this looks on a 7¼ inch wrist. Also, let me know if you guys have ever even heard of this watch before. I'm sure there are some of you that are going to want to pick this bad boy up. I can definitely see this watch being one of those Seikos that sold for under $300 online, and then a year later, well, not a year later, maybe 2 years later, because it's been about a year since their release. 2 years later, end up doubling in value. So let me know what you guys think about this thing. Is this sort of a forgotten watch? Is it going to be a future cult classic when more people start talking about it, if they ever do? Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video.